Hello and welcome to the first episode of CommuNInqué, a channel for Nintendo news, Nintendo commentary, and other video game Let's Plays. This being the first episode, I still don't have the proper equipment necessary to do Let's Plays, and so it will be focusing mostly on recent Nintendo news and then commentary on that news. So without further ado, let's go to the biggest news of the week with the reveal for Super Smash Bros. Wii U and 3DS in the character Shulk from Xenoblade Chronicles. Now, Shulk was announced previously, well, pseudo-announced in the leaks from Gematsu as well as the roster leak earlier this month. And considering the artwork from Shulk matches with the roster leak, we can probably assume that the roster leak is confirmed at this point, but for the moment we'll just say it's not and go too much into that discussion. So let's just talk about Shulk for a bit. Shulk was an interesting reveal. He seems to have been set apart from the other sword fighters mostly by the Monado modes, the Monado being his weapon. And those modes are Jump, which does higher jumps but lowers his defense, Speed, which gives him faster movement but weaker attacks, Shield, which is higher defense and slower movement, Buster, which is stronger attacks but weaker launch ability, and Smash, which gives him stronger launch ability but weaker attacks and lower defense against being launched. And so this is going to be a really intriguing sort of move set, especially as it seems to be toggling using the special button or the B button if you're using the GameCube controller. And so being able to toggle between these different modes is going to be a really big part of Shulk's gameplay, especially when it comes to tournament play. And I can see a lot of his sword, the Monado, seems to be a very long-range sword as opposed to players like Marth and Ike. And so it seems as if that he's going to be almost a long-range character, even though he doesn't appear to have any projectiles. So, as with most newcomers, Shulk has gotten his own stage. This stage is Gower Plains, obviously from Xenoblade Chronicles. The first thing I'd like to mention about this stage is the music. The music from Xenoblade Chronicles was amazing. And so I believe we heard about 3 soundtracks in the trailer for Shulk. And so it'll be interesting to see whether they include additional tracks for the stage or whether those 3 are the ones that we're going to be hearing for that stage. The second thing is just how unique the construct is for Gower Plains. It's got the platforms on the upper left and upper right, and then the platforms directly below those, and then just kind of this big open space right in the middle. This is going to be very interesting for aerial work as well as different competitive aspects, just seeing how that stage will function. There's also the possibility of there being a stage boss. As shown at the end of the trailer for Shulk, there was a looming shadow appeared overhead and we heard a voice. That voice was believed to be from Metalface, one of the main bosses from Xenoblade Chronicles. And if so, that means he's going to probably interfere in some way in the stage. So it'll be interesting to see what he does, whether he'll be similar to Yellow Devil, just kind of standing there firing off stuff and going away, and whether he's interactable or not. The next thing I'd like to mention is just going back kind of to Shulk's move set. If we look towards the trailer, we can actually glean a lot of info. There's a lot of tilts and smashes that Shulk uses, and as well as I believe his up special. And then, of course, the Monado modes, which Sakurai helped to clarify in his Miiverse post. But I think the most important thing that we can look at is the comparison of the gameplay from the trailer with the gameplay from the leaked videos. There were a couple of videos leaked earlier this week that showed some gameplay for Shulk. And judging by several of the moves, especially the down tilt or down smash, which is kind of a spin attack but lower down, though that move was shown in both the trailer and the leaked gameplay. And so I'm inclined to believe that these videos are indeed real gameplay. And so that would mean we have another character to discuss, and this character is Bowser Jr. Bowser Jr. we were kind of expecting as a Mario character eventually, just because there aren't too many main series Mario characters left. And so, but most of the fan base, including myself, were expecting a Super Mario Sunshine Bowser Jr. with a paintbrush, possibly transforming to Shadow Mario Zelda style, but instead we get the new Super Mario Bros. Bowser Jr., where he's flying around in the Koopa Clown car, the little hovercraft that is in both Super Mario World and the new Super Mario Bros. Series. And so, looking at his gameplay, he actually looks to be kind of an interesting character. He's got a lick attack that looks a bit like Diddy Kong's tail attack, and then he's also able to punch, he's able to shoot a cannon, and then his up special is shown as well, where he kind of leaps out of the Koopa Clown car to gain more altitude and then land on the stage. And so there's not too much to be gleaned from the gameplay other than the fact that he's in the game, but looking at him already, he looks to be kind of fun, kind of very projectile focused character, and possibly more close range. He doesn't look to be too agile, at least not particularly agile. We may see if he has more than the standard amount of jumps, which he might, considering he's in a hovercraft, but otherwise I think most Bowser Jr. discussion will have to wait until we've actually seen real gameplay of him that's longer than the leaked videos we were shown. And so, moving on to, I think, the last bit of Smash Brothers news is there was a Smash event at PAX, the big conference in Seattle as well as in other locations, that was a closed event. It was closed to several media. It was 2 2-hour blocks, and there's been an embargo on information coming out of it. There's not anything shown from it yet. And so it's been rumored to be shown at release, that the information will be allowed out once the game is released. So we may have to wait until then. It may be sooner. There hasn't been anything really official said on how long the embargo is, what information was given out. But it will be really interesting to see, because obviously they were showing something to the people, and it was supposed to be the full build for the new game. And so with Smash coming out just in 2 weeks or so, we won't have to wait too long, but it'd be cool to get the information sooner than later. And with that, I think that completes this episode of CommuNInqué. I will be back as soon as possible with more news, and so until then, stay classy.